Today I'll show you how I created these 5 cards using vellum and combining it with some techniques. I guarantee that some of them you've never seen before. So they are all very easy to make. You don't need any special tools to recreate these, and they're very fun. They will look very pretty and kind of with a lace effect. And I'll show you right now. So I used to create them 3 different vellums. This one is lighter weight, is 92 GSM. This one I have no idea, and the third one is from Simon Says Stamp. It's the regular vellum. The other 2 are heavyweight. The 92 GSM, not as much, but I'll show you what happened. So these are the 2 main items I use. One is a 3D embossing folder. The other one is a dotted detail plate from Altenew. These are the professional tools that are normally used with vellum to make cards in my country. If you don't have them, don't worry, I'll show you what you can use instead. So these are styluses. These are needles they use to pierce that dotted pattern. So one of them has one has 3 side by side. This one has 4 that form like a square, and this one it's kind of a half moon shape. And you could use like a stylus with 2 different sizes that's easy to find, or a piercing tool instead, a paper piercer. But here's what you can use instead: an empty pen, guys. I'm sure you have one around your house. I've had this one for some 20 years or more. This is my most used tool. It's my most precious tool. I use it all the time. And here are the tools that you can use instead of your paper piercer and the ones with those needles to create your dotted detail. I made these tools myself. These are the ones that I use when I have to do it by hand. So all you do is get, again, an empty pen that has a plastic body. You will melt it with fire while it's still hot. Just be extremely careful, please. You insert a sewing needle or a sewing pin and wait for it to dry. Don't leave it too long because it might break when you use it. So here's one of the common techniques that you can use on vellum that's quite forgotten. You can ink blend, and here I'm ink blending with actually dye inks. So vellum, it's non-porous and it smudges. You have to wait for it to dry so you can use it, but you can most definitely ink blend with it. Make sure that you're not touching it, because wherever you put your finger while the ink is still wet, you're gonna lift that ink. But I did it with all 3 of my panels, like 1 of each, and the results are basically the same. There wasn't a considerable difference. And then I dried them with the heat too. Here you can see the difference, because the lighter weight one will start curling up pretty bad. But next I'm gonna run them through the 3D embossing folder, and it's gonna flatten them. So this one is the lighter weight one. I am not using it because it cracked everywhere. I honestly used this one as a comparison because I thought it wasn't going to work, the 92 GSM. The other ones I knew they were heavier weight and I knew I would have no problems. So there was no cracking on the other 2. This one there, I don't know the weight. I know it's heavyweight. Like when you touch it, you can feel the difference. And I bought it in Brazil many years ago. I believe it's 120, but I wouldn't bet my money on it. This here, the black thing, is like a foam platform for stamping from Sizzix, but I turn it around. The side that is not foam, the one that has the printing that has Sizzix written on it, is foam. So I turn it around, and the rougher side is the one I use for embossing. So you just need to turn your cardstock around to the side that has kind of these white marks, and whatever you draw on this will be embossed on the other side. It will be debossed on this side and embossed on the other side. And I made like berries and I scattered them all around. You just draw circles. Just make sure you don't use like too much strength at first, because that could pierce through your vellum. This one is that dotted plate from Altenew. It's one of the heavier weight panels. And I'm just using my empty pen to show you. So I trace that line, that curved line that is right in the center of the pattern. I trace this solid from top to bottom. And now I'm choosing the forms that are right beside it to the left and right. And I am just embossing them with my pen. So you can trace it solid and then flick, and you get the side, the areas that you put more pressure will be more solid, it will be more visible, more clear, and the areas that you lift off the pressure, they will be kind of wispy and they will kind of blend into the center. And I did that to all the shapes to the left and bottom of the pattern. If you select different areas, you will have different looking results at the end. As you can see at the end, the three panels that I used, and I embossed. One of them I cut off, and one of them I did both. So this one I did just that section in the middle, like along the central line of the dotted pattern. But the last panel, I actually embossed the whole entire thing, all the details, all the areas, and I embossed them solid, not like this one that I'm doing kind of wispy, and I'm flicking, sorry. I'm doing the flicking motion like you would do with a Copic marker. So you can see the areas that are kind of towards the edges, they're way brighter, solid, like whiter. And the ones towards the center, they kind of blend. It looks a bit like ink blending. So you have a completely different result from what we're gonna get at the final one. I'm not gonna show everything, and you can slow down if it's too fast and you can see it in more detail, because I didn't want this video to be crazy long. But here's the final result. And I'm also adding some dots. These ones I'm not drawing circle. I'm just pressing the pen and you get that those dots formed. So I did a few in between the empty spaces here and there. There's not really a pattern or a reason. Now to my second heavyweight vellum panel. This one I'm just gonna cut. So I'll show you in detail in a second, but all I do is I found these scissors. They're very narrow at the tip. They're kind of like nail scissors, and you fit the tip of your scissors, the two tips, into two holes, and you cut. And then you just move one hole up at a time. It takes a little bit of time, but I find it very relaxing and I love doing this. You just get in the zone and you really don't see time passing by and you really don't feel it. Again, I sped it up because it takes some time, but you can see it in detail in a second. And you can combine this with the other technique, which is what I'm going to do with the final panel. And you get this result that is just dreamy. It looks very elegant and it looks like you worked on it for like a month. And you have something that looks like a lace that you will buy for your clothes. And I've never found anything other than Vellum that will give you this result. So here's the detail. I just put those two tips into two holes and I cut. And I move it left or right, it doesn't matter which direction. And I cut it again, one dot at a time. And I selected random areas all across my panel, so it would look random. And I did mostly the smaller areas. Okay, for this one, I messed it up. I started with a very dark color and I just had to go with it. Once you start with a dark color, you can't really take it back. So if you try to do this again as well, like just do lighter colors and it will work. I'll show you how I fix it in the end. For this one, I used the stylus, the bigger one. Actually, I alternated according to the areas. Smaller areas, I used the empty pen. Bigger areas, I used the bigger stylus. And this is the result I got. And this is the one I'm going to combine both. So I'm going to cut some of those, again, the smaller areas, and it's going to look just stunning, stunning. I'm showing here the final results of all of them. And I thought that 92 GSM wasn't going to work again, because I used it for comparison, but it actually worked. And because it's lighter weight, it means that you could do 2 panels together at a time and try to emboss both of them at the same time. So here's the one I didn't like. To glue it, you guys know there is an issue with glue and vellum, but because I colored it, you can't see at all. Absolutely not. So if you color your vellum, don't worry, like no one will be able to see your glue. So I just stuck it down. You don't need to put glue all over your panel. I used 5 dots of glue for this one on each corner, one in the center. You just need to hold it down, which I'm not showing on screen. Press it down, put some weight on it, and wait for it to dry. It takes a while, okay? Some 5 minutes or 10 minutes, forget about it. Move on to something else. In the meantime, I did the die cutting. Here I'm using some pearlized cardstock and some white glitter cardstock. And these are feathers. They are from Altenew. I love them. They're stunning. Because I didn't like that panel that much, I am trying to cover as much as I can. So I'm using these die cuts to disguise it, and it will take a bit of your eyes and bring them forward instead of making the background the main thing. So that will help with disguising it a little bit. I added a sentiment. I'm not showing it, but I did like a 3 or 4 for each sentiment, and I layered them like maybe 3 in white and the top one in gold, and that's it. I tried to add something else to this card, and it looked like way too polluted, so I didn't. This is the one that I added those berries, the circles, the small circles. Again, the glue won't be visible. You can't see it at all. I'm adding it and also adding some of those die cuts, and it will be okay as well. And a sentiment. So in the meantime, let me just tell you, vellum is my area of expertise. There's a lot more that I can show you. I will show you a few other bits on the upcoming videos. Keep an eye if you like this. Again, it's something that I love because you can create it at home without needing specific tools, and you can end up with a lovely, lovely result. And you can also combine it with tools and whatever you have already in your stash and give them new life. Like these, I had never used them with vellum before, this 3D folder and the dotted plate, and now I am absolutely in love with them all over again. The dotted plate is one that I use a lot from Altenew, and now I love it even more. Like I'm gonna use it even more than I already have. Okay, back to this card. I am adding some gems here and there, scattering them all around, because in the end, the look of this panel is not that strong. It's very muted. You have to really look close to see those leaves and those berries from the embossed side. Maybe if I had used the debossed side, it would be way easier and I wouldn't be doing this. Again, you can use both sides, remember that. Okay, now we're going to the ones that I loved the most. I am just adding a dark panel to this one. It's a navy panel, and this will be the first one that we did that I embossed only the center. And in the meantime, guys, while I'm sticking this down, this is my second time trying to upload this video. The first time, for some reason, it went without the audio, so I'm hoping I'm not going to have a problem this time. But if I do, please let me know. And if you want to see anything else, or if you have questions, anything, let me know. I'll be happy to tell you. And I also am on Instagram. If you want to follow me there, I can send you my logon. But we can talk more through there because I always check my messages. Okay, This one, you can definitely see the glue. But I'll tell you, if you used a lighter color on your background, you probably wouldn't be able to see it at all because the vellum is heavyweight. And again, what you can see is like these tiny wet, it looks like wet dots in the corners. You can't see anything else. If it bothers you, you can always take down your sentiment first and use the glue just behind your sentiment, and no one will see anything. It's just that those corners will be lifting and I will be worried that they will catch onto other things. I'm using my T ruler to make sure that those sentiments are straight. I chose a darker color for my background because I thought you would be able to see more of the detail of the plate and the embossing that we did with a darker color. But you could use a lighter color and have it just as a detail, very soft, and maybe give more emphasis for your sentiment if you want to. It depends on where you want your eyes to go to. The last one, I really wanted all the attention to the background because it was the one that I loved the most. All three of these cards, the last three, I'm going to add these gold domed, they look like pearls, and I think that complements well. It ties in with the color of my sentiment as well. This is a glitter background and it's kind of corally pink, but it has also some gold flecks. And because there's not as much detail on the panel I'm going to use on this one, this is the panel that we cut out the shapes with the scissors. I am adding all that glitter in the back because I think they will complement each other well. I think it will work. You tell me what you think. And again, the glue will be visible for this one. This one was hell to stick down. If you use glitter, you will have to wait and you can shift it until your glue dries. So if you have reverse tweezers, I did that on my last one. I was a bit smarter at the end. You put your tweezers to hold where you put the glue and that will do it. So you don't have to worry, you don't have to keep on waiting for it. And here I am adding glue to the sentiment, but then I'm also sticking the tip of my glue bottle nozzle underneath the background because through the holes that I opened, and I'm adding glue to make sure that it's gonna not like be sagging and bowing away from the background. And then I have to put some weight and wait for it to dry. There's no other way. It takes a while, I'm not gonna lie, but it looks gorgeous in the end. You can't really see from the distance here all the detail and how rich it is, but once I bring it up to the camera, look how lovely that is, folks. I absolutely love this result. And each one of these three, it's the same plate. You are doing different things. They look extremely different. And this one is my favorite. I added a gold spray to the panel. This is plum cardstock from Hero Arts. It's this very rich, gorgeous color. But I added this spray just to have a little bit something in these open spaces that I cut on the vellum. And I used a smaller sentiment because I wanted all the attention to go to the background. I thought this background was lovely. This one, I am doing things differently. I am sticking down the sentiment and everything else I want to the vellum, and I'll turn it around, add the glue to the back of every element that I can use to hide my adhesive. And then once I press it down, you won't be able to see it at all. But I changed my mind and I added those dots of glue to the corners either way. And I used my reverse tweezers to hold it until it dried. I have already one more video with vellum posted, and I'm gonna post another one probably later today. I just need to do the voiceover so you can see other different ideas. And if you are enjoying these, let me know and I can show you even more. There's loads of stuff from these vellum cards that I've never seen anyone showing before that I think that you could really take advantage of and use to change the look of your cards. So here are my reverse tweezers, and I wait for them to dry and I move them around because I only have 3. But I really like the way it looks at the end. You tell me what you think. They look very elegant. You can use them for any occasion, but I think it will look gorgeous for like weddings and maybe birthdays of some friend that you have that like an elegant look. And this is it. Thank you. Have fun.